Hey there, it's that time of the week where we get back in touch with you, tell you who won last week's prediction contest for the Kentucky game, and then give you a chance to send in your prediction for the upcoming Georgia game, which this week is Georgia Tech. And if you follow us, you know that we do these weekly prediction contests for the Georgia games. Winner gets a gift card to a local Athens business. Been doing it since COVID. It's fun to do with clients, so we're probably going to keep it going. And, we also do a lot of updates on Athens real estate, national real estate, and give you information about the Athens area. So if you're interested in that, be sure to click subscribe. And we'll tell you who won this game, Georgia, Kentucky, 16-6. But before we get there, I'd really rather talk about this for a second. If you don't mind, I want to talk about Tennessee. And let me just say, ha, 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 ha. So I grew up in the 90s as a Georgia fan. Tennessee was very good. Florida was dominant. It was a tough time to be a Bulldog. And Tennessee's had a rough run over the last 20 years. But they've gotten really good with Josh Heupel. They are a good football team, but the fans on Twitter are just becoming a lot. The talk, if you listen to some of the things they were saying before this game about Georgia and how they were going to beat Georgia in the playoff and how Georgia looked so bad against Kentucky, like about 6 o'clock, 6:30, Twitter was filled with Tennessee fans being very arrogant. 63 points later by South Carolina, Tennessee has 2 losses and might be going to the Capital One Bowl. So Spencer Rattler went off. He had 6 touchdowns. It might seem childish to sort of relish in this, but as a Georgia fan, with all the Tennessee just got real arrogant real quick. They're going to be good. Probably not going anywhere for a while, but this was enjoyable. It was a surprise when I got back to the hotel room. I was down in Statesboro. So way to go, South Carolina. Good for you. Good for Shane Beamer. And sorry to Vol Nation, but you are a 2-loss team. And now back to our game. Georgia won 16-6, probably a lot closer than most people expected based by the type of predictions that we ended up getting. So this is not a big surprise to me. I do want to say I actually predicted 20-10, which would have been pretty good, but I cannot win. We'll go over some predictions here in a second. But the game, we've seen this before with Kentucky. It can really turn into a slugfest. It was cold. It was windy. Kudos to the fans that went up there and stayed in that weather. Georgia had a chance to get over the goal line right there that would have made it, I believe, 23-0. You feel like if that happens, this game might stay 23-0 or end up. But Kentucky was able to get some momentum there. They went down the field. Ultimately, as a Georgia fan, got to be happy. You're 11-0. You beat them 16-6. You look across what happened to some other teams, and Georgia is in the catbird seat. What they must do, though, is that's one of the reasons I talked about Tennessee is remain focused on Georgia Tech. It can happen. Let's go over the predictions real quick. Long and short, there were not many good predictions. 20-10 would have probably been a winner had somebody predicted that. We had a lot of people that were 42-10, 42-17, 41-20, 37-17. We had a lot of that. Most people expected Georgia to be over 35 points and Kentucky to be below 20. So the big thing that changed was that nobody really had something close to 16. Here were some of our best ones and there weren't many. Chad Howard, who works here in town with Regions Bank, 30-10. That put him in the 3rd spot. Then we had Nathan Harizzo, who also works here in town, a friend and client. Nathan, 28-10. So Nathan's been close a few times on this, and thank you, Nathan. But the winner is actually another person here in town, Jason Hodge, who has not predicted yet this season, to my knowledge. Maybe I missed one, but Jason threw in this week and is actually going to be our winner at 24-13. Congrats to Jason. We're going to be getting him a gift card to a local Athens business, and hopefully he'll be able to use it. Back to what I was saying before, because we're going to want you to send in your prediction. Georgia fans, it was fun to laugh at this morning and Sunday to relish in Tennessee's loss. But don't think that can't be you or it can't be us, so to speak. These college football players are just young men. They're kids. This is a distracting week. Thanksgiving, it's Monday, and I'm already thinking about smoking my turkey. I'm distracted. So they can be too. Tech is, they've been down in this rivalry for a long time, but every time Tech's won in the 2000s, most of the time it's been a complete shock. So I'm not calling for an upset. I'm just saying, as a fan, remember that this can happen to you. Who would have thought that the 63 points was going to be scored by South Carolina? Upsets in college football, they happen. I don't want one to happen this week. I want Georgia to finish off strong. I'll let you know my prediction after the fact, but hopefully it'll be a great weekend. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving with your family, and try to come to Athens if you can for the game. It's usually one of my more favorite tailgates and games. It's a little smaller, a little bit more intimate group, and you kind of talk to people a little bit more when there's not as many folks around. Happy Thanksgiving. Info at 5M Realty. Post your comments, but remember also info at 5M Realty to send in your prediction for the Georgia Tech game.